Good afternoon, sisters and brothers, or should I say good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our AFSCME New Jersey Facebook Live series. I want to first off say to everyone, all of our members out there, and to all public employees, to thank you for all that you do and that you have been doing during this pandemic. You know, I say that every time that we do one of these sessions, but it is never enough to say thank you for all that you guys have done in keeping it together and taking care of patients in your community. So again, on behalf of the officers and executive board of AFSCME New Jersey Council 63, I want to say thank you to all of you for doing such a great job and for being the everyday heroes out there. You may have noticed that I'm here by myself right now. We intended to have Congressman Tom Malinowski from the 7th District join us tonight to talk a little bit about the issues that are going on right now in our country and to talk about the COVID and, of course, his reelection. Unfortunately, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The bad news is that Congressman Malinowski is not going to be able to join us. In fact, we just found out a short time ago that he is not going to be able to join us. He will be rescheduling very soon. We'll have a Facebook Live session with him where we'll get to talk with him about the issues in the election. That's the bad news. But the good news is why he's not able to join us. He is not able to join us because right now there is a vote going on in the House for the HEROES Act 2.0, which I'm going to touch on in just a little bit. It's a really important bill that does a lot for working people in this country to help us get through this pandemic, including many of our members and their families. So while we would love to have the congressman here with us right now, the fact is that it is more important that he participate in the debate and ultimately the vote for the HEROES Act 2.0. And of course, you know, Congressman Malinowski supported the original HEROES Act back in May, which provided $3 trillion in coronavirus relief. So while we would love to have him here right now, we will reschedule with him, but we want him to take care of business. And of course, we expect him to vote in favor of the HEROES Act 2.0. So what I am going to do, though, is I'm going to go through a couple of bits of information pertaining to the elections, pertaining to the HEROES Act, and any other information that is relevant to what is going on right now with the elections, what we need to be focused on. If anyone is on who wants to ask questions, please type it into the box, and I will answer your questions during the course of the session. So first and foremost, I think everyone saw the debate last night, which was, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. It was an embarrassment. But it just goes to show that this election is so important. Who we elect is so important. And part of what we've been doing as a council, we've been putting a lot of emphasis on voter education, voter registration, and urging our members to elect candidates who support working people like you. So voter registration is open right now. For the first time in the history of New Jersey, voters can register online. We have some links on our website where you can click on and register to vote. To be eligible to vote in this election, you need to register by October 13th. Okay? So if you or a family member has not registered yet, please, please, please make sure that you register to vote, because with what we saw last night and the direction that our country is being led in right now, it is so important that we get out to vote. But in order to get out the vote, we have to make sure that we are registered to vote. So please urge your family members to go out and register. And then, of course, after you're registered, we then want to focus on voting itself. Now, this year's election is unlike any other that we have faced in our lifetime here in New Jersey. It is going to be an all-mail ballot, right? Now, the years past, most people, including myself, would go to my polling place and I would vote for the candidate of my choice. I never voted by mail before this June in the primary. So the way the process works is that all 21 counties in New Jersey will be mailing out ballots to voters between now, or actually September 19th, but between September 19th up until October 5th. So right now, ballots are in the mail, and you should have them in your mailbox soon. I know that I got my ballot for Mercer County today. So please check your mailboxes. Please check to make sure that you've received your ballot. If you do not receive a ballot, by October 13th, you need to contact your county clerk to let them know that you didn't receive a ballot and to request one. Again, we have information on our website about the mail balloting, how it works, and what to do if you don't receive a ballot. Now, when you get your ballot, there are three ways that you can vote. You can vote by regular mail. You can vote in person at your polling place on election day. Or you can vote, put your ballot in one of the ballot drop boxes. Now, let me say this. If you vote in person on election day, the first thing you got to do is you have to check the polling locations in your county. Because of the COVID, every county has reduced the number of polling places. So if you normally went to the firehouse, wherever, to vote, that might not be the case this year. Okay? Polling places have changed. So we recommend to everybody to look at our website, find your polling place if you're going to do it that way. You can also vote by regular mail. Just place it in the regular post office box. And then, your ballot would be mailed to post office. The Postal Service would deliver your ballot to the county clerk. But really, we think the best way, the most efficient way, and the safest way for everyone to vote is through the ballot drop boxes. Each county has ballot drop boxes located throughout the county. Now, I know in Mercer County, for example, every single town has a ballot drop box. And in some cases, I believe Hamilton and Trenton have more than one. I believe they have, in fact, more than two. But again, on our website, you can get the information about where these ballot drop boxes are located. When voters place their ballots in the drop box, they are picked up every day. We really believe that this is the safest way to vote. And we're recommending to all of you, to all of our members, to cast your ballot and put it in the ballot drop boxes. I will say this now. I got my ballot today. I will tell you that when I get home, I am going to fill out my ballot and I'm going to return it. I would say that, I had the ballot for the primary, right? And I got, as I said, this is the first time I ever voted by mail. I got the ballot in the mail and I put it on my kitchen table. And every day for about 3 weeks, I went, oh, I got to remember to fill that out. Oh, I got to remember to send that in. I'll do it tomorrow. I got to remember. Well, all of a sudden, it was 3 days before election day, and I was going, oh, man, I got to get this in, or my vote's not going to count. So our recommendation is, A, that you vote by the ballot drop boxes. That's where you place your ballot. But when you get your ballot, make sure that you fill it out for the candidate of your choice and return it as soon as possible, because the sooner it gets in, the better. We believe. So we want to make sure that you have the information about registration. We want to make sure that you have the voter education about how to vote. Next week, we'll be talking a little bit about who to vote for. There are candidates on the ballot who support working people just like you. And we're going to be posting a list of those candidates, that support working people. Now, I know that we have people on this Facebook Live session who are watching it. Some of you may be Republican, some of you may be Democrat, some of you may be independent, some of you may not care one way or the other. But what we are urging everyone to do is to make sure that you vote. Now, you can vote for who you want to vote for, but you shouldn't vote against your own self-interest. And the candidates that we are endorsing and the candidates that we recommend that you vote for are people that we believe will be most supportive of public employees, of working people, of healthcare workers, of essential everyday heroes like yourselves. So that list, when you see it, and it may be up on our website now. If it's not, it certainly will be very shortly. Please look at those candidates and cast your ballot for those individuals. So I do have one other thing that I want to talk about before I get to any questions. I mentioned that Congressman Malinowski was not able to join us today because he is preparing to vote on the HEROES Act 2.0. The HEROES Act 1.0, I guess you would call it, the original was passed back in May. It had $3 trillion in coronavirus relief. Now, that was the bill that had the extra $600 for unemployment for workers who were on unemployment. It had the $1,200 stimulus checks, and it also had $1 trillion in aid to state and local governments that had been hit hard by the pandemic and lost revenue. I think all of us know, whether you work in a healthcare facility, whether you work for a public employer or a private employer, this pandemic has taken its toll economically. And one of the key points of the original HEROES Act was that it was assisting as many people as possible. It was protecting as many jobs as possible, and it was helping working people who had lost their jobs get through this difficult time. That bill was passed in the House of Representatives in May. The United States Senate, which was controlled by Republicans, never passed the bill. They did not pass anything. They went home on summer recess rather than working to try and get a bill passed. Now, the problem with that is that while they are on recess, while they didn't address anything, people are suffering. The extra $600 for unemployment ended that a lot of people were relying on. There still is not aid for state and local governments who are going through the pandemic emergency. It's threatening the jobs of teachers and firefighters and healthcare workers and everyday public servants, police. It's hurting local governments. And that bill, the HEROES Act, had money in that to protect public services. But because the Senate did not pass it, now there has not been any relief. And it's taking its toll on our community. So the House of Representatives has taken up a second HEROES Act bill, the one that Congressman Malinowski is voting for and hopefully voting in favor of, which we believe he will do. This is a reworked bill that cut the cost of the coronavirus relief bill. The original HEROES Act was $3.3 trillion. This one is $2.2 trillion. It would reinstate the $1,200 stimulus checks to most Americans. It would expand the unemployment, the extra $600 for unemployment until January of 2021. It includes $436 billion in emergency aid to state and local governments who are struggling throughout this pandemic. And by the way, all state and local governments are struggling through this pandemic. It doesn't matter if you live in a Republican area, a Democratic area, independents control it. It doesn't matter. This virus does not choose people based and communities based upon what political party you support. This impacts everybody. So this bill would help people in communities, regardless of party affiliation, to keep public services continuing. It has support for schools and childcare, $225 billion for childcare and schools. It supports passenger airline employees and contractors with $25 billion in support to avoid layoffs for airline employees, and another $3 billion for contractors who service airlines. It has a restaurant boost. Recently New Jersey opened up with outdoor dining, and now they've done indoor dining right to about a quarter of the capacity. Our friends and neighbors who work in the restaurant business and the are working right now with just limited capacity for outdoor dining, limited capacity for indoor dining. That hurts them. It hurts them, and they need help. And the restaurants themselves, in order to stay open, need help. So this bill, the HEROES Act 2.0, gives $120 billion in aid to the struggling restaurant industry. So what you see with this bill of the HEROES Act 2.0, it's a compromise bill. It's the Democrats' attempt at compromising with the Republicans to say that the Republicans originally said no, this was too much money. We're not going to support the HEROES Act with $3 trillion in aid, but I think they come up with something around $1 trillion initially. Well, this is the Democrats' compromise at $2.2 trillion to help working people. All this back and forth and delay tactics and getting nothing done in Congress is hurting people. This bill is really, really important. And while we would love to have Congressman Malinowski with us tonight, we appreciate him doing the right thing in debating and hopefully passing this bill in the House to try and bring relief to people who need it, to try and bring relief to the services, people who rely on the services that you guys provide. That's what this is for, and we thank him for doing that. So let me just go to a couple of quick questions that we have. But again, remember, register to vote, mark your ballot for labor-friendly candidates, and put that ballot in the ballot drop box. And all of that information is available on our website. So Rebecca asks, I work in the state of New Jersey but live in Pennsylvania. Is it safe to vote by mail? Considering the tampering of the USPS and the recent incident of taking out sorting machines, I'm very leery of the mail. The CEO, as you know, is a huge Trump supporter, which is all of that is true with the concerns with the post office, particularly from up top. There were I'll call them reforms in quotes that were put in place that appear to be reforms that would slow down the mail to deter mail balloting. At least that's what we read in the news reports. I think that the postal service workers, the everyday average postal service workers, will do their best and will get the ballots to where they're supposed to safely. There were some things about the number of ballots that they were talking about that would be returned in the millions of ballots, and then they were compared to the number of or pieces of mail that the postal workers get out at Christmas time. During the holidays, they get 10 times the number of parcels, envelopes, cards, packages to people on time at the holiday time. They can handle this thing with the Postal Service. And if you are in Pennsylvania and they don't have drop boxes, and truthfully, I don't know what the system is for voting in Pennsylvania. Though, if Rebecca, you want to shoot me a private message and you give me your contact information, I'll see if I can find out and get you that information. But if we didn't have the option of the ballot drop box, I would have no problem myself putting my ballot in the United States Postal Service. Lee says, where can I find my local drop box? If you go to our website, Lee, we have a list of counties. When you click on the counties, it has a direct link to the county clerk's website, where in that particular county, where it has a list of all of the ballot drop boxes. So you should be able to give that. You should be able to get the information and find the ballot drop box right on our website, which leads to the county clerk's websites. John says, the president gives the impression that the right to vote in person is being taken away. While we encourage drop boxes, is in-person voting available? Yes, it is. In-person voting is available. What is different here is that if you vote at your polling place, you can vote. It's going to be the same ballot, by the way, that you fill out if you are sending it in by mail, either regular mail or the ballot drop box. It's the same ballot. You can vote in person at your polling place. If you choose to fill it out at your polling place, it would be considered provisional. The reason they consider it provisional is you could have a ballot in the mail that you sent in, and then if you went to the polling place and voted, that would then be 2 votes. The way they protect against you voting twice is if you go to the polling place and fill out the same ballot that you could fill out by mail or through the ballot drop box, you're marked provisional, so they can double check to make sure that you didn't mail in a ballot as well, so that you only get to vote once. Right? I know. The old phrase "vote early and often," but not here in New Jersey. It's safe to vote this way. And the other thing that New Jersey has, which is actually quite good, is that if there is any kind of voter fraud, if someone engages in voter fraud in this state, the penalties are pretty severe for having done so. So there are a lot of checks and balances with this system. It's easier for people to vote. You have a greater access and more options to submit your ballot. You can go to your polling place, but again, if you vote at the polling place, it's going to be provisional. And again, remember, if you do that, please check our website to see where the polling locations are. Because of COVID, they have reduced the number of polling places. So where you normally vote may not be where you can vote this time around. So one last thing that I do want to touch on. I thank everybody for joining us tonight. Again, I do apologize for us not having Congressman Malinowski with us, but it's for a worthy cause and a legitimate reason that he wasn't able to join us today in him voting for the HEROES Act. And we will, of course, reschedule with him for very soon, where you'll be able to hear from the congressman directly and ask him whatever questions you wish. I see my brother Awal Al-Hassan said maybe Congressman Malinowski can explain what the HEROES Act means to us when we reschedule. I think that's a great idea. And I think Awal and those of you who are on this, I think that's a great question, and I think you should ask it the next time that we're on when we reschedule with Congressman Malinowski. So thank you all for joining us. Again, we will send out the date for the reschedule with the congressman soon. But remember, register, fill out your ballot for labor-friendly candidates, and return your ballot as soon as possible. Don't let anybody intimidate you. Don't let anybody think that this election is won. It is not. We have got to vote. We've got to use our strength and our power at the ballot box. So please make sure you're registered, vote for labor-friendly candidates, and return your ballot as soon as possible. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.